A set of large doors at the back of the room slid open without a sound, as two very naked Xi'an warriors entered, keeping Shireen from answering. I stared, mouth gaping, as the first one nodded nonchalantly at us before padding towards one of the cooling units, completely unfazed to be strutting his stuff in front of us. Golden all over, scales covered his muscular chest and arms as well as parts of his legs, but not his chiseled abs. A natural loin plate, also made of thick scales, shielded his naughty bits from view. He stopped in front of the unit and retrieved a rack of vials. Then my gaze landed on the second man. Time stood still as I took in his oval face framed by dark, slightly curly hair through which the pointy tips of his ears peeked, and his thick, plush lips parted slightly with shock. He had stopped dead in his tracks, his stunning black eyes staring above and around my head, like his peers had done before him. I couldn't even wonder about the strangeness of that behavior, as my brain had stopped functioning. Breathtaking didn't begin to describe the perfection of that warrior. My breath caught in my throat, and my heart seized when his gaze finally lowered, meeting mine. I drowned in their inky depths. His mind didn't invade mine, and yet his stare penetrated the deepest confines of my soul. It should have terrified me, made me feel naked and exposed, but for some irrational reason, I wanted him to see me, to see all of me. My skin felt burning hot, despite the cool shivers running all over me. The subtle scent of cinnamon wafted to me, making my mouth water, my stomach tighten, and my nipples pebble. With a start, I realized the beautiful stranger had closed the distance between us, and he now towered over me. I drew in shallow breaths, my lungs feeling as if they couldn't get enough air. A slapping sound snapped me out of my daze. The stranger emitted a surprised yelp. Covering his right butt cheek with his palm, he cast an outraged look over his shoulder at Shireen. She held what looked like a black Vanguard t-shirt, which I guessed she'd slapped his rear with. "Put some clothes on, Raven," Shireen said in a mocking voice, extending the piece of clothing towards him. "You're traumatizing Lyanna." I was traumatized indeed. "Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door," quoth the raven, nevermore. Of course, an excerpt from Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven would pop to mind. It was no beak that stunning man had plunged into my heart, but he had sure robbed me of my legendary self-control and stoicism. I didn't want him leaving any time soon, and yet every ounce of survival instinct I possessed yelled for me to make a run for it. Ignoring the garment Shireen held up for him, Raven turned back to me, an unreadable expression on his face. "Lyanna," he said softly, his voice deep, with a sensuous breathiness to it. "It is an honor to meet you." My skin erupted in goosebumps, and my knees wobbled. How could a man's voice affect me so much? I suddenly felt like a teenager speaking for the first time with her longtime heartthrob. He looked around my head again, an enigmatic smile stretching his full lips. Then he once more locked eyes with me. What are you looking at?" I asked, my voice weaker than I would have liked. My hand brushed over my wavy brown locks. "Is my hair messed up?" He chuckled, smile wrinkles creasing at the edge of his larger-than-human, almond-shaped black eyes, typical of the Xi'an warrior. "No, your hair is lovely, but it is your aura that has me enthralled. It is mesmerizing," Raven said, his voice dipping lower, taking on a purring edge.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.